Our goal for this project is to create name art using zentangles. We'll be using a white piece of paper, a pencil, and then some black markers. And if you want to, you can add color with colored pencils at the end. We'll begin by using our name. And if you have a really short name, you could always do your last name instead. We want to make sure that the letters are spaced evenly on the paper. If you have a really long name, you might have to make your letters very skinny. I'm going to use my daughter's name, Olivia. So I'm going to try to space the letters out as equally as I can on the page, leaving a little bit of space in between them. Notice that I'm making the letters touch the top and bottom of the paper. We're doing this because the letters are actually going to divide the paper up into sections. Once I have a pencil drawing of my letters that I'm happy with, I'm going to go ahead and use marker to trace over the letters. Now you can use a thin marker if you want thinner lines. But I changed my mind and decided to use a thicker marker so that some of the designs later would be seen better. So I used a fat marker for the letters, and then I'm going to use my thin marker for the designs in between the letters. You could also use a Sharpie for this. You may just want to put another piece of paper underneath the Sharpie so that it doesn't bleed through. If you would rather use a different color than black for your lines, you're more than welcome to do that too. I recommend using a darker color though. And then, or you could use multiple colors too. And then we're going to outline the entire thing with marker as well. So I'm just doing a line kind of along the edge of the paper. You may want to put another paper underneath so you don't end up marking your table. So you can see how all of the letters touch the outline and they divide my page up into sections. So now I'm going to take my thinner marker and I'm going to add a zentangle or pattern into each of the little sections. This could be something as simple as diagonal lines or stripes or polka dots, or you could get a lot more fancy by making a repetition of shapes, like a bunch of squares, or you could do some type of fancier pattern. I started off with basic stripes and polka dots, and then we'll try to get a little fancier as I move to the right on this picture. For this part also, if you want to stick with just black, you can, or if you would rather use different colors for each zentangle, you could do that as well. You can also come back after you have done the zentangle lines and patterns in each section and just add like a colored pencil behind your pattern. For example, I could color like the inside of my O orange or something, and where I put my diagonal lines I could do yellow. You're welcome to add variety to your pattern too. So I did zigzags here, but I could also add like polka dots in between my zigzags, or I could do some type of pattern like that as well. So basically I'm just using lines and shapes to make different patterns inside of the spaces between my letters and inside of my letters. Now every single space should have a different pattern, so you should not be repeating like polka dot stripes, polka dot stripes. I want to see more creativity than that. So get really fancy with your patterns. Here, instead of just having floating triangles, I decided to make it a little bit more fancy. So now I'm outlining some of the triangles that I made to create this pattern. For ideas, you can even just look at the clothes that people in your class are wearing. A lot of time clothing has some fun patterns on it. Even like a Kleenex box or a folder or binder can have different patterns. There's a lot of places that you can find different designs for ideas. Now I'm just filling in some of the extra spaces with lines or extra triangles. So I'm going to continue doing this to fill in all of the different spaces with different patterns as I go. This one was inspired by a castle or a cityscape. You can see I've filled in all of the different spaces now with a variety of different patterns. Even the two in the A are different patterns. And now I have my completed picture. And again, you could, if you wanted to, add color by coloring in the background with colored pencils so that the lines still stand out. Can't wait to see what creative patterns you come up with for this line design project.